This Future Cities Africa episode is presented by MetGovis, an industry leader in property and revenue management solutions, supporting the sustainability of local government. Janet Channing, Managing Director, and Ayanda Ngcobo, Director at MetGovis, are my guests today. We discuss how MetGovis is partnering with local government towards sustainability. Janet, Ayanda, welcome. Who and what is MetGovis?
MetGovis is an independent company in South Africa, and we look to ourselves as the industry leaders for municipal valuations and rating. We have a suite of software that services all the needs of a municipality, right from data collection through to the generation of rates accounts that is fully compliant not only with the Municipal Property Rates Act, which is the legislative framework around municipal valuations and rating, but also meets the Municipal Finance Management Act requirements for the MSCOA, Municipal Standard Chart of Account, standardized reporting, specifically around the regional segment, and also the Auditor General's IT requirements. The main focus of our product and service offering is around fintech products and services and the consultancy support that accompanies that service offering.
And what is the one thing that MetGovis should be known for? Your reason for being?
I think for us, it is really assisting or partnering with municipalities to ensure that if they are billing, that they're billing correctly and completely, and in that way supporting the sustainability of local government.
Looking back, where did it all start for MetGovis, and what is the personal story and journey behind the company?
MetGovis was purchased from Grohl as part of a management buyout in 2010. Grohl is a very well-known brand within facilities management, shopping centers, major stadiums across the country. And they had stepped into the general valuation space when the Municipal Property Rates Act was promulgated. But doing business in the public sector and doing business in the private sector is a very different environment. They offered us a management buyout in 2010, which we took on. It was a big, steep learning curve. We're a small team, we're fairly dynamic and flexible, and we had to be particularly agile in meeting the requirements of a small business operating in the public sector. We're doing really good.
Janet, you've mentioned that MetGovis has a small team. What is unique about the people at MetGovis?
Within our team, we have a complementary set of skills. We're a very diverse team, so some people are very focused, very technical, very data-driven, and then there are some people that are, deal with the client, front the business, provide the account management. And I think that is really part of the success story of MetGovis, in that we blend these various different skill sets and personalities into building the relationships that we need with clients.
Ayanda, how do MetGovis solutions help in solving complex problems within the public and private sectors that you operate in?
Well, for the public sector, we do have various number of solutions that we have. And the one that is most used by most of our clients is our valuation goal management system, which is called MetVal, and that is our flagship system. So what it does is it actually houses the valuation goal for the municipalities, and it ensures that there's accurate billing from the financial system. It talks to the financial system via an API as per the MSCOA requirements. So this does ensure that the municipalities are not losing revenue, and they can see where they are underbilling or overbilling. It can flag certain discrepancies between what is in the valuation role and what is in the financial system. The system also comes with the built-in GIS system, which I think over the years we've realized that for municipalities, it's better if they're looking at a map than actually looking at an Excel file or on a list of properties. So we believe that location is actually very important. So you must be able to look at the property spatially, and you can see how it's being rated, what is the value, what is the category, Is it being built correctly? Does the owner information match what is on the financial system? So we do have that system, like I said, as a flagship system of ours. But supporting that system, we also have Insight X, which is a geospatial reporting tool. What it does is that it can basically pinpoint any information relating to property that can be located spatially. This, we use it to even map your indigent register for municipalities, so you can see where your indigent owners are within your municipality. We also use it to actually map your debtors, so you can see which side of the municipality is not paying you on time. What are the issues? Using a system like that actually allows you to see where maybe there's no pay point around a certain area of the municipality. So you start putting in a pay point and people actually start paying. And it also can be used to flag where properties are not being built and they're actually commercial properties. I mean, when you're looking at a map, you can click on it and it shows you an image of the property. You can see it's a big shopping center and it's not being built for whatever reason, and that is revenue that municipalities are losing monthly. And then, like Janet has mentioned earlier, that what makes us different as well is that we have a diverse team, and our team we've got property valuers like Janet, we've got GIS experts, we've got guys who are really technical like myself when it comes to systems. So that assists us in ticking all the boxes when it comes to solutions that the municipalities are looking for when it comes to the property rating space. We do general valuation roles because we do have a team that does valuations, so we can go out there and do a full general valuation role for a municipality and include the maintenance as well. And then using our system, we believe that working in the system eliminates most of the issues that most municipalities are facing today. So working in the system like MedVal allows you to build up your general valuation role, do the maintenance, and then you make sure that it's loaded into finance and it is being billed correctly.
Thanks, Ayanda. Janet, how exactly do you formulate MetGovis solutions?
We are client responsive. And when I say client responsive, we actually listen to what the municipalities are looking for. We don't just sort of like dish and spoon out an offering. We hear what they want. We tweak and change and enhance the functionality of our systems to be as user accessible and as user friendly. The Municipal Property Rates Act is a really complex piece of legislation. It is involved, it includes a GIS component, a big component of data administration that has to combine with valuation services. And those two need to be working seamlessly. I think that one of the ways that we've been able to make our product so meaningful for local government is that absolutely appreciate that officials, especially strategic decision-making officials, have very little time. They need information accessible and they need to be able to see it. We call it the power of the picture or the power of place, so that you can see it immediately. Municipalities may not have officials, some of them are familiar with financial statements, but there are a whole bunch of officials that are not necessarily that comfortable with financial statements, but they all know those municipalities really, really well. So if they can see it, if they can see the areas where there's a shopping center being planned, where there's a township being developed, where there's a concentration of vacant land that has the potential for housing perhaps, or where there's vacant land that is consuming services, which is also a little bit irregular, then they know immediately what remedial action to take. If you use that imagery layer and you put the smart mapping layers one upon the other, you can see what remedial action has been implemented and what is still to be done. And from a performance management point of view, that is a very powerful piece of business intelligence.
The one thing, again, that we do very well is we understand that municipalities are not the same. They're all different. So when it comes to the system as well, I think, in fact, when you look at the system, when you go from one municipality to the other, it's the same system, but it's being used differently. So there's certain features that these clients would ask for, and we make sure that they're available. Then there'll be certain features that are relevant to this client, and then we also make those features available.
Okay, so you've touched on the benefits of being able to quickly see complex data simplified on a map. This must surely be relevant across all public departments and eventually perhaps part of everyone's workflow.
For our systems, we don't charge per user. Our pricing is based on the number of property parcels that the municipality has, meaning that anyone within the municipality should have access to the system. And our system is maintained and kept up to date. So you're basically looking at one vision of the truth. So from town planning, building inspectorate, property valuers, finance team, even the lady sitting at the cashier's office, the front desk, they should all be looking at one source of information. So if I'm coming to pay for my electricity bill and there's an issue or there's a query, the person sitting at the front desk has the same information that the person at building inspectorate or town planning has. And at the click of a button, you can see the picture of the property. We can confirm that, yes, this is the property. Is it being built correctly? Am I paying for the correct rate account? So really, one vision of the truth is really what we're saying we should be all be looking at within, whether it's a municipality or a department. You have the system, we must all subscribe to the same database from management as well. I mean, our systems now, they are web-based. So the idea around that was that if you're sitting at a council meeting and there's a query, the local councillor can actually pull up a tablet or a cell phone, log in and see the same information that is available at the front desk.
We motivate very strongly that the more people that use the system within the municipality, the more integrity the data has, because the more cross-referencing or checking or updating or adding a photograph or a comment or a document, all of that just goes to make the reason that we use that one version of the truth that much stronger. It's a bit like a Dagwood sandwich. Okay, so if you click on a property, you should get all the levels of data that you need, irrespective of who has placed it there. But if you're looking for a particular view, and that view is the water meters, so the water meter detail, the description of the property, whether or not there was a consumption reading taken over the last 2 months, all of that detail is there. Municipalities are made up of property parcels. All the property parcels within that municipal jurisdiction are within that property register. And even though their property is immovable, it's bought, it's sold, it's subdivided, it's consolidated, buildings go up, demolition happens, but the absolute locational reference to that property is constant. I might purchase a home and the owner moves out and I move in, but the water meter and the electricity meter, they reside there. They don't go, they stay there. So the account details may change, but the locational reference for the property will stay the same. And I think that's very important for a municipality as they come into managing their revenue far more effectively and efficiently.
What are some of the main challenges that you face within the sectors that you operate in, and how can these challenges be addressed and by whom?
One of the biggest challenges that we have, and it's a personal crusade here for MetGovis, is that the Municipal Property Rates Act provides for the register of properties. This is the platform on which the valuation role is premised. And the Municipal Finance Management Act has a whole raft of regulations for the Municipal Standard Chart of Accounts, one of which is the regional segment and the reporting of municipal transactions against where the money is coming from and where the money is spent. The National Treasury regulations imply that this is a spatial database, but the Municipal Property Rates Act does not prescribe a spatial geodatabase. So there's a disconnect between what Treasury is requesting and what the municipality is obliged to comply with from a policy perspective. So that's a big one for us. I don't believe it's insurmountable, and I really just think that a some constructive dialogue between those two departments could create a regulation that would clarify how a property register should be presented to a municipality. It's absolutely fundamental. Across the world, we can see that the strength of the database, the integrity of the data, and the currency is what makes a tax base equitable. If there are properties that are left out, if there are owners that are left out, and then all the taxes paid by that group of people with the exclusion of these people, then that's not equitable and that's not fair. Tax isn't something that we enjoy or relish paying, but provided it's fair and it's spent responsibly, then people have a different attitude to it.
Okay, so what, if anything, is being done to solve this disconnect between what Treasury is requesting and what the municipality must comply with?
From a thought leader perspective, we contribute towards this dialogue and towards motivating for the dialogue, both through Proctor National and through National Treasury. So they're both very well aware of the limitations and the disconnect in the policy frameworks. We look forward with anticipation to some kind of regulation that will bridge this gap, because it really is a gap, and it's a meaningful gap if it can be recognized and acknowledged for the role that it could play towards achieving more sustainable local government.
Thanks, Janet. You've touched on one challenge, but surely there must be more.
For us, data is a challenge. And typically when we start working at a municipality, we will find untidy silos of disparate data. So there will be some duplication, there will be omissions, there will be some cross-cutting, there will be big gaps. And to try and make sense of that, it really does give credibility to what National Treasury is aiming to achieve with its one version of the truth and an integrated enterprise system for municipalities. But the data cleansing, for which there never seems to be any budget, is a challenge for municipalities, and it's a challenge for us as service providers. You're getting on top of that, making sure that the remedial action is actually implemented. We work very closely with the different financial system vendors. And so for Ayanda to be on site, we will make sure that the relevant technician from the service provider who is managing the financial system is also there, so that they can twin their contribution towards resolving the various different discrepancies. But until such time as you have something that is balanced record for record down to the cent, the implementation of an API, an automated programmatic interface, it's not that successful. The playing field has to be leveled before you can do that launch.
The challenge is that so you can clean the data. I mean, some clients have done the data cleansing exercise, but then that's where it ends. And then it needs to be maintained. So we forget that it needs to be constantly maintained so that you don't go back to square one, basically. So you can have that exercise and just make sure that it's maintained going forward. I mean, if you have 5 discrepancies a month to fix, it's better than waiting until you do it next year when there's 3,000 discrepancies.
We have to persuade the municipality to own their data. Because what happens now is that the property register is outsourced. Most municipalities don't have a valuation function in-house. The metros and a couple of high-capacity municipalities do, but most municipalities outsource the full scope of work: the property register, the valuation roll management system, the preparation of the valuation roll, and the maintenance of the valuation roll. It's bundled up into a single scope of work, and it goes out, which means the municipalities don't own their information. And they really do themselves a disservice, because by not owning the property register, they don't have anything to platform their revenue management business intelligence on. And for us, that's very, very important. So the way we see solving this is that own the data, manage the data, keep the data current. You've got enough officials within enough business units to make sure that the property attributes that change are captured within the system. then it's merely a matter of giving the instruction to the valuer to say, please, there's a new township here, there's a new shopping centre, we've just completed the magistrate's court, we need those supplementary valuations back so that the billing can then commence.
On the challenge of capacity within municipalities, how are you helping municipalities better manage this?
There are always concerns around capacity in municipalities. As part of our service to a municipality is making the technology accessible, unpacking the legislation so it's not this big spooky Municipal Property Rates Act that everybody fears and quakes when they come into contact with, that it becomes an accessible a tool to use to improve the revenue and the asset value of your municipality. We don't do classroom learning, except at very much an introductory stage of using our software. But you will find that Ayanda, every time he goes to a municipality, will spend a certain amount of time with the officials that are working on the system every day to make sure that they are absolutely comfortable, that we do the troubleshooting, we hear what their challenges are, we get down to the operational granularity, that they know how to work the system and they are comfortable and competent and very proficient in working that system. We also hold user groups, and I think that's another part of our skills transfer. All of our team members within MetGovis are facilitators. We've all done facilitate learning as part of our qualifications. We pride ourselves on being able to communicate clearly, to be able to get a message across, to unpack something that could be quite technical and complex, but we never stop learning ourselves. And one of the really great platforms for learning is through our user groups. I know it's part of our compliance from an IT systems service provider position, but we really enjoy it. And it's not just what we present to our attendees, it's what they bring in terms of what are their experiences, what were their issues, how did they resolve it. And so often it's at an operational level that you'll see things that this guy could just not get his head around, but this one has tried that and it works. And suddenly that light bulb goes on and there's like, oh, this is just so great and so amazing, and why didn't we think of that before?
Ayanda, MetGovis is not the only organization out there providing solutions to the complex problems faced within the public and private sectors. How do you differentiate from your competitors?
The first big item is that we have a full in-house team when it comes to property rating services. We've got a GIS expert, we've got a team of property valuers, then we've got the team of developers that are really focused on our system, or systems that we have, including the MetVal Valuation Role Management System. And on the VRMS, the biggest differentiator is our API, the automated programmatic interface with the various financial systems. So we don't just integrate with one financial system, but we have various APIs with other financial systems, whether it's through the API or an FTP, a file transfer protocol interface. So we do have that option as well. But integration is a big item for us, and that is the big differentiator with our competitors.
And Janet, how exactly did the pandemic impact MetGovis and the way you work?
We've all had challenges with COVID, and for us, one of the immediate challenges was that we were not able to get onto site because municipalities weren't open, none of the officials were there, everybody was working from home. So we had to overcome the IT infrastructure, some quite challenging pieces of IT infrastructure, because a number of our clients are very remote and connectivity is one of their biggest issues. That's a fantastic solution if we could start addressing connectivity even in the deepest rural areas. That would make such a difference to local government. But not actually seeing a person walk through the door and still know that they're doing work and servicing the needs of the municipality. I think that was quite a big challenge. But it has really changed the way we work. because now we are not spending so much time on the road. I mean, we used to be real road warriors, gone for weeks on end with our little suitcases to all different parts of the country. And now the clients are very comfortable and very satisfied with a more virtual service. So the work still gets done, the data is still accessible, and the tasks are closed. So for us, there were two sides to COVID. There was, first of all, how were we going to get past this virtual learning, remote working situation, and then the upside has been that we cut down on our travel, and this seems to really work for local government.
You are seen as thought leaders for municipal valuations and rating. What are some of the success stories and major accomplishments that you've had to date?
I'd like just to speak a little bit around thought leadership. The Municipal Property Rates Act was a new piece of legislation promulgated in 2005, and it required some unpacking. So a lot of the work that we've done is to draft articles, to take inserts in publications that makes the Act more accessible, both to valuers, to financial officers, to strategic decision makers. And I believe that a lot of why MetGovis is so well known in the South African public sector space is because of the profile that we have positioned ourselves in as the thought leaders for municipal valuations and rating. We don't just talk about the valuations and rating from an MPRA perspective. We have also more recently addressed the dilemmas that valuers find themselves in when evaluating businesses that were affected by the KZN looting and civil unrest. And it has raised some pretty important valuation methodology questions around not buildings that were completely destroyed, because that's now vacant land with some stuff that has to be removed, but partially destroyed buildings, and whether or not it is on the remaining usable area, or how do you determine or assess the market value of property that is a percentage of which was destroyed and cannot be used until it's been reinstated. So those are meaningful questions that are contributing to a body of knowledge, and we do feel that that is genuinely making a difference within the public sector space and the understanding of the Municipal Property Rates Act at an operational level, not necessarily always at a policy one.
The biggest accomplishment was, I think for years we've had our system, the MetGovis valuation management system, in a desktop version, which means that whenever we roll it out onto our clients, we would have a server, and then you would have the desktop version sitting on the user PC. Then I think when the lockdown came, we decided to use that time to actually rewrite our software and make it more modern, web-based, accessible anywhere. And then we started that journey, and now we've already rolled out the new version to 2 of our clients. So we basically on the final stage, basically, for it to be ready to be rolled out to all our clients. So for us, that was a big achievement. And yeah, it looks really good. I think the clients are very happy with it. We can now access it on a cell phone, on a tablet, or basically on any device that has internet. So one of our biggest accomplishments was being listed on National Treasury system evaluation as one of the recognized system providers in the country for the valuation management system.
So in closing, with this being episode 1 of the MetGovis Thought Leadership series on Future Cities Africa, what else can we expect to hear about and to learn from?
Our space is technical space. It's around developing solutions that are responsive to what the client really needs. And we had a product that we called Insight X, which was to provide the business intelligence to support revenue management decisions with a municipality. And we took the same technology and we migrated it across to the agricultural space. And the agri sector has been incredibly responsive. It's also, the power of place, that a picture tells way more than an Excel spreadsheet or a million Excel spreadsheets. And if you can see a dashboard that has locational references, and you can see this region and that region and the next region, and this particular project has been around reporting on the planting season for the Department of Agriculture here in KwaZulu-Natal. So we've taken a similar reporting platform and we've migrated it into a different sector. And I think that has worked really well for us. And it has given us a huge slice into a whole new audience, a whole new target market. So that is one of the conversations that we would be exploring with you going forward.
So we've launched another platform called GovProp, which is Government Properties. So what it is basically an advertising platform, if we can put it that way, where municipalities, government entities, departments can list all their properties that they want to dispose, or where they're looking for a partnership, and they can list these properties, and the interested parties it's commercial developers, like people that are interested in building shopping malls. They can go onto this platform and say, I'm interested in building a shopping mall in Pietermaritzburg or Durban, and they'll be able to see the properties that are available, and then they can request more information on the property, or they can browse and see where the property is located, what is the zoning for it currently, and they can get in touch with the municipality. So at that point, our job as GovProp is done. We're just linking the government entity or the public sector with the private investors or developers, so that they can talk going forward about how that property is being acquired. So basically, it works the same way as your other traditional property searching platforms out there, except that when we looked and searched, there wasn't this specific option for the public sector. So that's where GovProp comes in.
To learn more about GovProp, the solution for the agri sector, and much more, visit the MetGovis series on futurecitiesafrica.com. A special thanks to Janet Channing and Ayanda Ngcobo for this insightful conversation on how MetGovis is partnering with local government towards sustainability.